all those who are able to join today. Um, just an update. I changed the hashtag on for Twitter people to find it easy, because earlier it was some in caps on and some in caps off, and people had hard time finding it. So I just made it simple to easy to find on Twitter. So now all these meetings are called as PC Open Discussion. We'll still be talking about nav. We're not leaving that, but just to make it simple for people to find it, I've just updated the hashtag to BC Open Discussion. So this is our 7th meeting. I had already have some questions based on whatever you guys submitted. So let's see what's there for today. Here we are in terms of participation. We are, still seeing a uptick, so I still kind of am motivated to keep doing it going forward. So let's see how long we go with this. So let's see what the first question was, and the first question is from Manish, and Manish is here. And Manish, if I understand it correctly, it's around custom email body
Right,
for purchase orders, right?
right, right, sir.
So let me see where my Docker container or Docker is. Okay, here it is. Let me drag it here. Okay, so you want a custom body for your purchase orders. I'm getting an echo somewhere. Okay, that's closed. Okay. So for the custom body layout, Manish, the first thing you need to do is identify which report you are using on your purchase orders. Report selection, purchase. The report that you are using, I'm using right now, is 1322, but there should be one from other than these from Microsoft. Let me see what that is. Its order should be 10122. I'll just change it to that report ID, which is in base Microsoft is 10122, and you can change it to your custom ID. That doesn't, you know,
Right, right.
that don't have an impact. So now we need a custom body layout for 10122 so that we can set it here. So then we'll go to report layouts, custom report layout. We'll create a new entry for that report, and we need to insert a word layout. Click OK. That should add an entry somewhere here. Purchase order. And then in the layout, let me say it, email layout. Okay. And then I'll export the layout. And I'll say this is my test purchase order email body. And if you want, you can also add the fields as we did last time. So just let's add a field. Less for the purchase order number. Okay, that's being done. I'll save it somewhere. File save as. There's a place, and let's say desktop demo PO email body. Okay. So now let me upload that layout, import that layout, choose from desktop demo email body. So that's now set on this. Once
Right,
your custom report layout is set, you will go again to report selection purchase. and then here you will check that this is my email body. Okay, sorry, I just need to set this first and then choose the email body layout. So now this report or this layout will run when you try to generate an email for purchase order. So now
Okay.
let's go to purchase orders and open any of this. Print and send, and email, yes, prompt for setting, click OK. This is taking time to generate the PDF and also will show me the settings. So now you see that the attachment is that report and the email body is based on the word layout that you chosen.
Okay. Great. So one more thing I just need to add on this, ask on this, that this particular pop-up is basically an email item table page, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, but it directly comes on sales order, but on the purchase order we need to select those option. After that it pop-ups
Mhm.
after this only. So can't it be directly by clicking on the send button?
It can be. You'll have to kind of add that action in the page extension so that it directly pops up the same window when you click on
Okay.
that button. It is not
Okay.
available by default, but you can easily add it. That's not a huge change.
Okay, great. Yeah, I found my solution. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
So, anyone else have any questions around this, or should we move forward? I guess nothing. So let's see what's next. Was there submitted this week? Okay, this question is from Shiva and is asking about use of Dockers and why we should use Dockers. Anybody here using Dockers or can talk about it? I don't want to be the only person talking about things. So if anybody is interested, please feel free to talk about it. Anybody use Docker? I know some people here have used it. Okay, Tanya, if you are speaking, we can't hear you.
Yeah, hi sir. Yeah, I do use Docker.
So
I've
how
used.
do you answer this as an
Yeah, basically the use of Docker is like just as a, I won't say a VM, but yeah, as a container based. If you basically want to run just like two versions of Business Central, if I can say like that. So one is the 13 version, which has the development part, and the other you want to use the Business Central 16. So how, and on the same platform as well. So I guess then that is one of the most beneficial thing. I can use Docker. With the help of Docker, I can use both the, both the platforms, and where I have the development part in the 13 version, and as well the 16 version. So basically I am using Docker because of this reason, so that I have the both the development areas all together.
okay, that makes sense. So the way I used it, and this is where it becomes more and more important, is as partners you will have customers on different versions of the product, and you might have customers on the same version but on different cumulative updates. Till Business Central 14, you had a flexibility to do their development by just creating a new database from development environment and importing objects and then do testing on their environment. As we go past 14, and enter into the world of AL, that's where Docker becomes super important. Because if I have a customer on 15.3 and a customer on 15.7, I cannot do the development on my local machine because I cannot have two different cumulative updates of the same version installed on my system. And for doing development in AL, you need to have a running service mapped to that database, which is used to download the symbols for that particular database. So then there are two alternatives, that you have multiple servers on your inside your company, or multiple VMs, as Tanya said, where you install different products locally and then load VMs individually when you have to work on a particular customization for a particular customer. The other way is using Dockers, which makes it easier to set up multiple containers. And consider a container, I consider a container one for my customer. So if my customer is on 15.4, I'll have one container specific to that customer based on the image of 15.4, and another on 16.3. So one container for that customer, and maybe a customer on SaaS. And they can be set up and removed very easily without having hassles of removing the VM and having run them when you need it. I see Steve, you are here. Do you want to add something on Dockers? I know you are doing pretty intense Docker learnings and using them.
No, I think that makes complete sense. I'm currently only focusing on SaaS and the current and latest version. I'm not even doing the insider builds, but yes, I totally agree. If you need to manage different versions, it sounds like a great way to do that. And also to just constantly have a fresh environment, and also to test future versions before they release, so you can test your code in advance.
Right. And that's also a very important thing that becomes very important in SaaS environment, as Steve pointed out about the insider build. So if you should be up and ready with your extension upgradability as Microsoft updates the base platform and application. So with Docker containers, these insider builds are available a little bit earlier than it gets released as journal availability. So you can always set up those Docker containers, test your customer extension, and fix any issues if you see, to be ready for the next update, which will then happen automatically on the SaaS environment. Okay, and Tanya, I see your hand raised. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that I see a drawback, or you can see just a con of the Docker. Every time you have to, download the image. So
Not
that
exactly. So
okay,
if you have an image, and Steve can surely add on this, you can have multiple containers based on that image.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
need
obviously,
a different image, then you
okay,
need to download it. So it takes the same amount of time, the time that you'll take to download the product DVD from Microsoft
exactly,
website.
yeah, yeah,
And Freddie's new method using artifacts, basically you'll
artifact.
download your main OS image that he calls the generic image, and that's the largest one. And then, so you have all the main OS components. And after you have that image in place, you just want to make sure not to delete that one accidentally. You then only have to download artifacts for each specific version of BC or nav that you want, or your locality, like if you want English or if you want Dutch or whatever. And those artifacts are roughly 650 megabytes based on the one I looked at. So it saves you a lot of download time to go
Yeah.
with the base generic image and then work with the artifacts separately. And once you have your base OS image and your artifact, you can choose to create a named image for that specific version and locality of Business Central, and that can persist on your hard drive. So if you want to create a new Docker container right away, that only takes, say a couple minutes, and there's no download required. So it's kind of nice. You can maintain everything locally once you have that base OS image and your artifacts.
Yeah. I need to get my hands dirty in the artifacts. I still haven't read yet about it. I'll go through it step by step basically, because Docker is a whole, a big thing, as in regarding everything you need to know about the Docker and the PowerShell commands, how does it run, the networking and everything. So I'm going very slowly and steadily with the Docker containers.
Understood. I've been through that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my style is completely different. I only go deep if I have a problem somewhere. Otherwise, I just need to know the basics, and that's more than enough for me right now.
Yeah, and I'm going through it so slowly that I need to have noted down, I jot down points that yeah, this need to be done first, second, third, the steps of the Docker and how does it flow.
Good. Yeah, and Steve is writing detailed info on his blog.
Yeah, I read it. I read
I'll
it.
surely read it someday when I have time to completely go through it.
And one thing I
Okay.
would
Anybody else
recommend,
have questions? Go.
like you, I was
Yes.
going really slow, and the problem was that by the time I had to revisit it, I forgot what the commands were. I forgot what the process was. So now what I've kind of done is I'll create a container, I'll delete it, I'll delete the images, I'll start over, I'll re-download the images, run nav container helper wizard, and so I just do it, 5 times in a row, and just wipe everything out, re-download again. And obviously, if it takes really long time to download, maybe you keep your base images, but just do the commands over and over, Docker PS, Docker images, and repeat the process. Don't make it like a one-time process where you have these sacred containers. Create your containers, delete them, recreate them again. And only after I did that a few dozen times did I start to remember what the commands were.
Yeah, same happened with me as well. I was continuously downloading and then deleting, then removing the containers and images. Yeah, it's a
Perfect.
whole.
I think that's a great approach.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Okay. So, anybody else have any questions before we move ahead from this? Okay. So let's see what's next. This is around encryption that we talked about last time, and you are here, I guess, Srinivas. Yeah.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, so yeah, your question was around encryption in BC and send encrypted data to third-party service APIs and how you decrypt. So I did my research
Yeah.
a little bit of it, and also understand that NAV uses or Business Central uses RSA encryption technique. I guess that was your first question in the last meeting. That what encryption methods are used. So it's RSA encryption, and that's around your key. That's how you encrypt and decrypt the data. So just to make it simple, I created a small demo where there is a table, where there is one field called sensitive info, and as soon as you enter this data on this field, it goes into encryption management and encrypt that data. Okay, so let's see that. What does that mean? And you can also follow this same in Business Central. I was just had it partially done in nav, so I'm using the same. Let's say I'm creating a record here, and I'm saying the name here. Let's say BC open discussion. As soon as I kind of commit this using tab, it will get encrypted, and you'll see a random text into the sensitive info field. Once it gets, oh, so yeah, this case it didn't happen because I don't have my encryption enabled on this company. So let's enable the encryption management. So the way it happens is you need to have a key, and both the parties should have a key, the receiving party and the sender party, and that same key will be used for encrypting and decrypting the data. In Dynamics Nav or Business Central, you can just enable it here and you can download the key and send it to the other party to decrypt the data that you are sending. So I'll enable the encryption. Me to save the file with a password that I need to share with the another party later. So I'll key in a password. Hope it matches. Yes. Once it is done, the encryption is enabled and I can export my encryption key and save it. Anytime I do any key, I need to have my password. That's my encryption key, which I'll save somewhere. Okay. So now my encryption is enabled. So now if I try to input the data in the same table, it will get encrypted as soon as I click tab. So now you can use this data to be sent out using your APIs, and the receiving end, if they have the same key, they can decrypt this data to read it. And I don't know what other side I would have used, so I'm just using Nav or Business Central. So here's the page on the same table, and if I need to decrypt the data and see what the info is there in this, I have an action here. It says show actual value. When I click on it, it tells me the actual value in the sensitive info. But when you create an API on this page and send it outside, you will see this value going out. And in Business Central or Nav, it's pretty easy. The way I have written it here, encrypt the data, what's the data is coming in, what data goes back, and same for decrypting the data. If the encryption is enabled, then it decrypts it and send it back. Does that make sense?
So is this the default methods like encrypt method and decrypt method inbuilt in Business Central?
Yes.
Okay. So you are telling
They
that
are
they are
available in Nav
using like
also.
RSA encryption mechanism. So if I
Yeah.
want to decrypt the same thing in the third party outside the world, so there lot of encryption techniques is there like RSA wise. So how can I decrypt the same thing in the outside?
So that's what I'm saying. To decrypt a data when it is encrypted using RSA encryption methodology,
Okay.
there is a
Okay.
key that we saw and we saved in my local system, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
key is used to decrypt the data also. So
Okay.
you need to share your key with the third party, which will be able then to decrypt that data and read it actually what's coming in.
Okay.
If you are
So
bringing data from outside to here, then you need to ask for the key and import that key into your encryption setup.
okay.
Here you can import the encryption key, and then that key will be used by the base Microsoft nav or business functions to decrypt the data that's coming in. You'll have to write your code
Okay.
segment to decrypt it once you read it from APIs, but that will be just this. Once the data comes in, decrypt my data and then store it somewhere in my table.
Okay.
Yes, but I haven't read much about how you encrypt and decrypt data, but that's what I was able to find out, that nav/business central uses the let me see if I find that. I had an article from Microsoft. So this is what it says, that there is a plain text and then you have a key like we have right now, which encrypts the data, and using the same key you can convert it back to the plain text.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you also used some password for that. Is it also required for the third party, that password?
Yes, the password identifies that you are authorized to use this key,
Okay.
because you
Okay.
can have your public key available on the web, right? And anybody can use
Yeah.
it, but without the password they should not be able to use that key even if they have the key.
Yeah. So, I can I change that password at any time?
That's a good question. Let me see. Okay, change encryption key, export encryption. I don't see that option that you can change the password.
So we can change the key. I think they are giving an
Yeah, you
option.
can. Yeah, you can change the key, but so
Yeah.
yeah, let's say if you want to interact with me for a month and then don't want to interact, so then you can surely change that key, encryption key.
Okay. And one more thing, so suppose I have some set of users access is there to my business center, and as an admin user, I want to set a encryption key as an admin. But if any user can change at any time, so is there any restriction we can do for other users to do not change that encryption key?
Oh, that's just based, will be based on permission who can open this page, right? So you can
Okay.
set the permission based on who can access this page or not.
Okay.
Yeah, but I completely didn't understand how you are planning to use it and what's the intention. But if it's just the users, then that should be handled in a different way rather than using encryption. Encryption is just for the data that's going in and out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. I was able. This is what I was able to find out this week.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hope that
Fine. I'm
helps.
fine. Yeah. So
Anyone
I will
else
work on that
have
one.
any question?
If I have any questions,
Okay.
I will get back later.
Okay. So if there are no questions, I can move ahead.
Yeah,
Here
please go ahead.
is one from Navneet, and I don't see him here, but he's saying that he is working on API integration with NAV 2018, and he want to use basic authentication in Postman. Okay. So Navneet, I don't have NAV 2018 to start with. I have CIS, the Docker container that I have, and it uses basic authentication. So that's one other benefit of using Dockers. Then I don't need to do all the hassles that I did last time to set up nav username password. It automatically comes with that. So let me open my Postman and try setting using an API which is already there. Okay. So don't save. Okay. So if I want to access the APIs which are available, and this is my demo. Yeah, this is my demo container. So I'll use the API page. And as I'm using the basic authentication, which is username and password, I'll have to go to my authorization tab and choose authentication as basic, and then use my username and password. Once I do that, and if I click on update request, that should fetch some data here, and it says not found because I don't have the company added yet, I guess. So let me see. Yeah, so I need to add a company parameter, because then I'm telling my Postman that I'm reading the data from API data from this. Oh, it's not found. This should work. Let me see. Clear. Okay, update and send. 404 BC API. That should be. Is it beta still? I guess so. Let me see. Okay. So I can see the data here. I am getting an echo somewhere. Okay. So now if I want to read, let's say my items, so then I'll have my URL set as items. When I try to send it, it says that there is no company. Oh, I forgot to set the company. So let's come here and set it on. So let me copy this, start, save. Okay, my authentication is basic, username, password, save, and I add the key company, and the company is copy msusa.inc and send it. So as you can see, I can see all the items using basic authentication in my Postman. Anybody else have anything on this Postman basic authentication or APIs in general?
The basic authentication is apparently going to be deprecated. And so the recommendation is to, at least with the SaaS version going forward. So
Yeah.
The recommendation is to only use OAuth for any production implementation. So just be aware of that. The basic auth is super convenient, but the recommendation is to not use it. Unfortunately, OAuth, in my experience, is a hassle to set up. So I don't know of a better way, and I know other people are asking Microsoft to try to make it easier.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess this person is right now. Let me see where he's trying it. He's trying it on Nav 2018.
Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
it
future
may not
path that
matter
you
for
need.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in future, as Steve said, you need to start thinking about what's changing, and basic will be may get deprecated in future, and then OAuth is the option going forward, which is yes, super critical. Just looking at this. Okay. So moving ahead, if nobody has anything.
So one question on this.
Yeah.
So yeah, for what authentication purpose wise, do we require like Azure related things? Anything required here?
Uh, you're talking on-prem APIs in Nav?
Yeah, both like on-prem and then SaaS wise.
For APIs, I don't think you need anything on Azure. APIs are kind of on your tenant, and they, as in, if you want to do something related to Azure, then you may require it, but I haven't actually practically used it. I have used it with one customer once, and the reason is because I deal majority of with upgrade customers, but I didn't need it. And Steve, you have any views on you might have used it on
Yeah.
SaaS environment?
With SaaS, if you want to use OAuth, the only documentation I found does require you to link your Azure. You basically set up the OAuth Business Central as an OAuth application in Azure, and Azure becomes the portal that authenticates the OAuth request. I don't know if there's a way to do that without Azure. The only documentation I found and followed, in order to use OAuth with the BC APIs, I did have to go into Azure and set it up.
Okay, does that answer your question?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So moving ahead, I guess this was the last question for today, and then we can open for other questions if there are any. Is around from Zakir, and he's saying that if there is some logic written in base object, then how I can upgrade with same functionality in Business Central. So I think he's talking about eventing in CAL, and then upgrading to Business Central. So Zakir, there are events available in the base Microsoft CAL code also if you are on Business Central versions or in NAV 2018 and higher. It actually started with NAV 2016 where events were available. So you'll have to event out your code to use uh, to kind of move it out of the base object, and it will be hard to explain in this call how you can do it, but I guess I had an article written maybe 2 years ago around it. So let me find that if I can. Okay, where is it? It should be here about futuristic development. So yes, this is 2019. Yeah, approx more than a year now. This goes through the whole process of eventing your custom code in CAL so that you don't have to spend time writing that code in Business Central. It talks about all the things, as in what is allowed, what is not, how you will be able to customize and what you can customize. It talks about all different type of events, integration, base object, database trigger event, and then what is allowed in page and not, report development and everything. And if I go through here, I guess there should be an example which talks about everything, that what you can do and what you cannot, and how you will event out your code in CAL word. So yeah, this was a detailed article series that I have written a year ago, which talks from everything, how you write your subscribers in CAL and how it makes sense and how they will get converted into AL in future. So like this example on table 39, there is a event called on after assign GL account value. And if you have a custom code that may be in the previous images, let me see where that is. Yeah, and if you read through it, you'll find out that there is a whole kind of an actual scenario that you'll see, which talks about how you write your custom code using those events which are available from Microsoft. It talks about database trigger event, which is what events are available for tables and then specific fields, and what is not allowed. Like you cannot event out any code on the on lookup trigger in CAL word. You can only do on validate, and then how you subscribe to those events. It was a pretty detailed one. I would suggest go through it, and if there are any questions after that, we can surely talk about it in maybe in next meeting. So that was it. Anybody have any questions? I start from top. Maybe that was the style that was being successful in past. So let's try that. Tanya, any other questions?
Yeah, actually, I had one question related, not related to Docker, but recently I just updated my user in BC16, but it was not getting updated via the Azure Active Directory. I don't know why there was some issue. I was adding myself, giving somebody else the super permission, super rights basically. So I was not able to. I even tried to update it from the Office 365, but I got no luck. So I just wanted to know if there's something I'm missing on.
And this is the SaaS environment.
Yeah, this is the SaaS environment I was working on.
So when a SaaS environment is created, they define one as the tenant administrator.
Okay.
Okay. And you might have supervised, you might have to check if assigned to you for all
Your voice is
in your
breaking.
permissions. I'm saying you might want to check that your super
Mhm.
permission have a company assigned, or is it available for all the companies?
Or for all the companies. The same
Okay.
right I have, I need to give to somebody else also. So I don't know. I have the super rights, but I'm not able to give him the rights. So do I need to add it somewhere else other than the directory or somewhere?
I have no idea about that. Steve, you know anything about that?
No, I don't. I have not looked into the management or admin aspect yet.
But yeah,
Okay.
Tanya, I know that there is one tenant administrator is defined when you create a new tenant on SaaS,
Okay. On-prem is much more, I
and
guess, easier
he or
in.
she should be able to assign any. He or she should be able to assign any permission to anybody.
In the tenant, you're saying, right?
Yeah, so whosoever is your administrator who talks to Microsoft, he or she might
But
have permission to assign it.
so where do I see those permission? So there is one business central admin, right?
Right.
There you can see the production and the sandbox environment. So other than, so there is, I have the rights of that. And then if I go to the my portal, my office portal, right, there I am I have the users added, basically yeah, the user is added there. But and there's a license also, there's a product license where you have to issue that license to that user. So I have added that as well. And it is showing on the user card, but I have no rights to give him the permission as in the super rights.
Okay, you can assign other rights, but not super. Is that
Yeah,
right?
super and the yeah, super and the security, there's one security permission also.
Yes.
Yeah, these both I'm not able to give to, I don't know, anybody I'm assigning it to.
I can surely check and come back to you on that
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
sure. I was stuck. Basically, yesterday I was trying to give somebody, so I was stuck. I don't know how to do that on the SaaS environment. I guess on-prem is pretty easy in this user management, I guess.
It's all about once you understand it for one time, then it'll be easy.
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
So
I
I don't
understand
think
the on.
it'll be a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
So I'll surely check back and let you know. Maybe
Yeah,
in next
thank you.
meeting, or if I find before that, I'll send you that.
Sure, sure. That would be
Okay.
great.
Akhilesh, you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Amandeep, I think you said I'm good, but if you didn't, let me know. And then I see Shahid going up. Shahid with raising his hand. You have any questions? Shahid, if you are speaking, you're mute.
Very sorry.
Yeah.
I like to add list item. Suppose in item page using the extension.
What you want to add?
I want to add a list. Say yes or no.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
And what will that list will show?
Just one list item. Simple value is yes or no.
Oh, so you want to add an option or an enum field, which will
Yeah.
say yes or no.
Yes. Yes. Like just a simple list box. There will be a yes or no. Maybe I will put more letters.
Okay, so yeah, there are two types of uh, field that can support it. One is option fields, and one is enum in Business Central. Okay, and it's up to you what you want to use. And let me see if I can find it. Control C. It'll go. Let's see. Okay. Point oh. Sorry, I was doing it on the other screen. Let me see your own server. HTTPS demo and BC save download symbols downloaded. Okay, you want to add a option field, let's say, and so you'll say ext, sorry, item dot table extension dot al, and it's my is available and higher. So 110 item extension, extend the item table, and I'll add t field 0110. My field is called demo options, and then I need option. That means I'll have to assign option members. Let's say, or you can use boolean, which is true or false. It's up to you what you want to use. But the other way you want to use is if it is only yes and no, then you can have the option field, sorry, option or um, boolean. Caption is also yes and no. Okay, I might need to put these in brackets. Yes and no. Okay. Okay, let's keep it entered. I'm using the same one, but you should never do it. I'm just using it for demo. You should create a new file for new object. Card extension. You said you want an item card or list page.
Item card.
Okay. At last, in my general tab, or what is my first tab? Item tab. Okay, and the field that I want to add is the page field, and then my field is demo options. Okay. Alright. So if that ID is free, it should get published. Let's see. Got published. Good. So okay, here I can see it. Let me drag it here. Go to my items. On my item tab, there should be this field now. Does that make sense?
Yes. Can you use, enum here as well?
Yes, you can. You can use enums. That's also allowed. That's not a problem. I'll not do it right now because it will become a destructive change because I already used option. If I change this, it'll become a destructive option. But you can also use enums in the same way.
Okay.
Okay. And then Srinivas, you have anything else?
Yes, above on the same like enum things. So actually, I thought that I myself made one requirement like if I select any country based upon that one, I want to load my states in another drop down. So based upon my state, I want to showcase all district headquarters cities. Like that, I made myself one requirement using the enums, but I am unable to do that one. So if you can say any suggestions on that one to do the same example, so that would be helpful to us.
So you should not use enum in this case. And the reason is that when you're thinking about the app that you're building, you're looking for a master of countries, right? And then a
Yeah,
master of cities or district inside it, and then a master of cities inside district. So to relate it, because if you make it via enum, that doesn't make any sense, because anytime you want to add one more value to enum, you'll have to change your code, right? So
yeah,
if right now
yeah.
you build it for India on the country, then you have a fixed set of states inside it. Okay. But tomorrow, if you want to extend it for US, then the state list will completely change. So rather than going with enum, use how Microsoft designs the you know the linkage between different table, and there are so many references that you can find in standard nav how that works. I would
So
suggest that.
if it is,
Go ahead.
yes, sir, if it is a fixed case, so can I achieve the same thing in the case of, forget about this like country cities relationship like that. So if is there any other kind of scenario? So can I use enums in this case for this case actually?
Um, no, as in enum cannot filter the another enum. You know what I'm saying? As in, you also want it to filter, right? If the A value is selected on enum1, then you want B to be filtered, or you just want B to be free text, where user need to choose again.
So let us think that I have three enums, enum 1, 2, 3. So by default, directly I will bind my enum 1 to first drop down. So based upon my selection, suppose think that I want directly bind my enum 2 to the second drop down. And based upon my selection, directly I want to bind my third enum to the third drop down. So like, can I do like that?
You can do that like that via code. You'll have to use a
Okay.
case statement, and based on the value selected on the first enum, you can fill in other enums. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm fine. So
look for the case statement. It makes it easier. And using the case statement, you can surely do it. You can do it without case also. That's not mandatory, but it makes it more easier to traverse with case.
okay, sir.
And let me know
Thanks.
if you get stuck on that. We can surely talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, Jignesh, you have something?
No. Thank you.
Okay. Karun, you have something for today?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Manish.
No, Saurav. Thank you.
Okay. Steve, you want to add something?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, that's all that I had for today, as in questions and all. And if there is a specific topic that you want me to do more research and talk about it, just let me know. And I'll surely add it someday.
So Steve also doing some good thing actually. I am also
And
following Steve in
yeah, that's it.
YouTube. Yeah, Steve also doing some good thing actually. So he's also providing the
Yeah.
training to the needful people. So we are also following the same Steve. So his sessions also are very good, impressive actually. So thanks Steve for providing all these things.
No problem. Thanks.
Okay. So then, see you next week, and send your questions on the same link,
Yeah.
and we'll meet next week. Okay. Have a great day, Steve,
Yeah,
and good night for others.
Yeah.
Thanks,
thanks Steve.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for organizing, Sarah.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Good
Thank
night.
you, Saurabh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.